All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this testimonial. Now, can you just tell everyone what your name is, what your blog name is, and just a little bit about your blog?
Sure. My name is Willow Paul, and my blog is part of my website, which is a photography and documentary photography website. The blog address is www.willowpaul.com/blog. And it's basically about documentary photography and figuring out how to cultivate a vulnerable photography process, working with people in the community through photography, sort of taking your time and slowly getting to know people through the medium.
Very cool. And what was it that led you to join Travel Blog Prosperity?
I was considering taking a course. I wasn't exactly sure what direction I wanted to go. I've been considering um, looking into doing more freelance writing, like journalism, just because I live overseas and I probably, have some expertise about the places that I've lived. So I was considering either learning more about that or learning how to sort of get my message out into the world, and use those skills to bring in more clients for my business. So I saw some of your courses, and I thought that might be good because at the time my blog was kind of a bit dead, and I had been moving around, and I got married, and I was like in all different corners of the world, so I was feeling a bit scattered. And I thought, this would be a good way to sort of have a real focus for my writing and bring my blog back to life. So that's what attracted me to it.
Very cool. I mean, it's always good to be traveling, but for sure it can. I get like that too sometimes when I'm traveling all the time. I'm like, I need to focus.
Yeah.
So, why did you choose this program over, say, a different blogging program?
You know, I just kind of researched you a bit and looked at your writing style and your some of the free information that you share on your blog and your website, and it was helpful for me. I don't know like how much comparison shopping I did for other blogging courses per se, but I did look at different writing courses and sort of decided what would be best for me right now. So what was useful for me in making that decision was really some of the free offerings that you share, because it kind of gave me a good idea of whether it would be a good program for me, and if I could sort of keep track of everything. I really liked all your free offerings, but then I was like getting overwhelmed with what to do first. So I thought, oh, if there's, if there's a course, there'll be like an actual order, um, and that's what I found by doing it. Like it's really useful because I can remember, oh, in month two we learned this, and if I need to go back to it, it's in a certain place, and I don't have to search around for it. So it's really useful from that standpoint.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes when people are researching something, me too, you just get like this article and that article and that article, and it's so much information, and it's just hard to decide what's actually important to do, or at least
Yeah.
what's important to do first. So definitely get that. And then, did you have any reservations before investing in Travel Blog Prosperity?
I want to be sure that I'm investing in things that I'm going to actually use. A lot of people are like that. Um, I'm pretty conservative, like with my money, so because I travel a lot, and um, I want to make sure that I'm using it for things that I'm going to get a return on. So I guess I really liked your $1 in because that was so easy for me. I was like, well, I can commit to that, and I thought that was smart on your side just because, it showed me that there was a lot of value in the program. And I would have done it for more than $1, by the way. But it was like an easy in. And then I saw, okay, this is going to help, with my goals for my business. So then when you offered like a deal for the whole year, it convinced me like, okay, this is a good fit for me, and I'm going to get a lot of use out of this program. So I decided to do that instead of like the monthly um, um, payment. So I guess just one reservation would be like that I wouldn't finish because I'd be too busy with other things. Because that's kind of, I think that's what can happen with online courses sometimes, especially if you don't have to go anywhere. You know, you can just kind of put it on the back burner and forget about it, or feel bad about it. So yeah, that was the main thing. But I haven't found that to be a problem because I'm interested in the material. So, and if I don't get to something right away, it's okay. I can come back to it when I have more time or when I have a snow day like today.
That's kind of what I had in mind too when I was creating it. This particular course is very broken up. It's not like, here's a million things to get through. It's more like, okay, here's this one thing I want you to work on for the month. So that was kind of what I had in mind too, because I have the same experience with online courses is that I'll join one and then there's 20 modules and I'm sort of like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to figure out when I'm going to do all this. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I was building it, I was like, okay, I want to break this up so it's really digestible and people can really, really learn one thing before moving on to the next. So,
The other thing I've noticed with it is that I've had all these change issues with like getting new themes on my WordPress and stuff, and it's really nice that I can go back to like older modules and find like the information that I sort of knew, but I need a refresher on some of the technical stuff, and it's really useful to be able to go back and do that. So I appreciate that.
now what have been your biggest takeaways or your favorite lessons from the course so far?
I guess what's really useful for me is really honing my message. So, like, I think it was month one, at least the way you had it structured, it might always be, was like branding your blog. That was really useful. Just like coming from an art background, in fine arts, we almost like we just never talked about the financial aspects of having a business. It was just always about the art and the feeling and the concept. But there's no. It's really tough when you after you get out of art school and you're like, I need. If you want to have your own business, then you need to have some tenets of um, how to run a business. So I think really like defining who your audience is, and I think I'm still working on that, but that was really useful to the tools that you gave us to figure out who we're writing for. I think that's just like the beginning of everything because if you don't know who you're writing for, then it's going to be tough to find that audience. And then I really liked, let's see, what month was it? I think month three, where it was sort of creating a content plan because I can get very overwhelmed by like, oh, do I need to be, social media? Like, do I need to be over here or over here? And what do I say here? And that's been really useful for me. Just kind of trying to develop a clear plan, and then creating goals for like what you want to happen on each social media platform. Like I want this amount of growth here, or um, that's something that I don't naturally excel at. So it was good to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. The audiences is so important because even the content plan or the social media planning or any of that stuff, growing your email list, if you don't know who you're doing all this for, it's sort of pointless. Like you can't really grow anywhere else without having that foundation. So yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
definitely went over that in the beginning of the course. I want everyone to have a really solid idea of what their mission is. So I'm glad you brought
Mhm.
that. And what was your biggest struggle before joining the program? And has the program helped you overcome it at all?
A big struggle was getting started again and feeling like I had something to write about. I know I have something to write about, but I was struggling with what my actual focus was. So then it just kind of stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, well, I don't know if I should expend all this energy on writing things that don't even match my mission. And so it's been really useful to like clarify what I'm thinking about first, and then figure out, okay, I after I learned some of the material that you offered, I sort of developed four major themes for my blog and laid out, the next 6 months of even if I don't have it written, I know what I'm going to write, and I know that it fits into those four major themes. So that was really useful. And I think, just a lot of people struggle with consistency sometimes. So that's a hard thing for me. I've committed to write, one blog a week, and there's so much energy that goes into that, and just getting it ready to actually publish, and then like making sure that people see it. It's not just sitting down for an hour. And I think having the course, and having people to bounce ideas off of, and having your expertise has been really useful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like planning out is such a smart thing because I feel like a lot of people, I used to do this too. I would just be like, oh, I want to write about, this today. And then maybe the next day I'm like, oh, but this sounds interesting. And then you have all these different ideas, but there's no clear sort of path that you're following of how you will turn this content into a community or, a business that makes you money.
Yeah.
It's all about like, building that bigger plan that's going to eventually turn this little slice of real estate on the web into this flourishing business. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. And finally, where have you seen the most growth in your blogging business since joining Travel Blog Prosperity?
I'm still implementing all the things that you have been talking about, but I think that I just have probably more consistent readership, and so I feel like I'm being more consistent about sharing the material once it's actually published, and like through multiple social media sites, and through other ways. And then I try to let people that I know, who would be interested in personally, like, know about certain blogs that I've written. And then the other thing that I've implemented that I haven't done before is reaching out to like brands or people that I mentioned um, in the blog. Yeah, and it's cool because I feel like all of them have responded, and so people want to know when you're writing about them, even if you're just a little person on the internet. So it's nice. That was a good idea that I could implement. So those are some of the ways that I've seen growth so far.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you are getting comments, and I know you said you did a Facebook Live, which was awesome. And you're going to start a Twitter chat, so all those things are going to be great for growing your brand. Thank you so so much for taking the time to do this. I really really appreciate it, and I will see you in the course.
Okay, thanks, Jesse.
Bye.
Bye bye.